I hadn't missed a Sunday dinner in 12 years. Not once. Not after 70-hour weeks. Not after back-to-back shifts when tax season swallowed my calendar. Not even the winter I had the flu so bad I shook when I stood. My mom, Linda, always called me the steady one. The daughter who never forgot a birthday, who brought dessert, who showed up. That night, I drove the 40 minutes with a hot lasagna on the passenger seat. I made it the way Dad, Frank, liked it. Extra cheese, no ricotta. The smell of garlic and basil filled my car like an old song I knew by heart. It was the smell of home. Their porch light glowed soft yellow against the dusk, the kind of light that tells you someone's waiting on the other side of the door. I parked out front, careful not to take Greg's spot, the one closest to the house. He always got that space. I climbed the steps and paused like I always did on the third one because it creaked. The dish warmed my hands. I reached for the screen door, then I heard my name. Diane won't be a problem. She never says no to family. It was Frank's voice, flat, certain. I went still. My hand hovered near the handle. Inside, voices bounced around the kitchen tile. But 300,000? Mom sounded tight, tired. That's crazy, Greg. How did you even… It doesn't matter how, Greg cut in. I need it handled before the audit goes deeper. You said you'd help. Frank again, calm like a judge. We will. Diane just got that promotion, remember? Senior analyst at that big firm. She's probably making, what, 150 now. The dish didn't move, but something inside me did. I held my breath. The metal edge of the screen pressed cool into my arm. The lasagna slowly lost heat in my fingers. She mentioned bonuses, Greg said. Probably more than 150. Mom sighed. She works so hard. Always has. There was a pause. Then Linda's voice softened, like she was trying to make herself believe it. We'll say it's for the roof. The house has been leaking. We'll start small, 30,000 maybe. Then later, medical bills. I'll say I need some procedures and… Spread it out, Greg snapped. She'll give it. She always gives. Remember the business loan? 20 grand, no questions. Never asked for it back. She gave us her signing bonus, Frank added, like it proved something good about all of them. 40 grand, just handed it over. Greg laughed. Who does that? She still thinks we're a real family. It's almost sad. Mom didn't laugh. Her voice went brittle. Don't talk about your sister like that. She's naive, Mom. She thinks showing up with a lasagna means something. I couldn't blink. I saw myself standing on that porch again and again, arms full, heart open, never once guessing I was a bottomless well they kept dipping into. Frank's voice came back, calm and sure. We'll space the requests. Diane can't say, no when you cry. That always works. I don't like lying to her, Mom whispered. It's not lying, Greg said. It's family. Her money is family money. She doesn't have kids, no husband. What's she even spending it on? That apartment? My apartment. The one I poured my savings into. The one with the park view and a front door that locked and no one else's name on the lease. She'll be fine, Frank said like a verdict. She always handles things. That's what she does. Are you sure there's no other way? Mom asked. Greg's voice dropped. Unless you want me in federal prison for tax evasion and fraud. No, this is it. My lawyer says if I can pay it back before they dig deeper, they'll drop it to civil penalties. Tax evasion, fraud. My brother, the one they bragged about to everyone, wasn't just struggling. He was criminal, and they were planning to make me pay for it. I stepped back carefully, avoiding the creak in the step, the dish sweating in my hands. I made it to my car without falling apart. That surprised me. My legs felt far away, like I was walking beside myself. The lasagna sat on my lap like a joke I didn't get anymore. I didn't turn the key. I just sat there listening to summer insects and the occasional car sliding by on the road. My phone buzzed in the cup holder. Mom, where are you, sweetie? Dinner's ready. I stared at the screen. Then I typed, sorry, got called into work, emergency. Audit. Rain check. 3 dots blinked, then, oh no, we have something important to discuss. Can it wait? She was going to say it. The roof. Just like they planned. Sorry, Mom. Boss says it's urgent. Love you. I didn't drive home right away. I drove past gas stations, past neon signs, past places where no one knew me. I didn't want a destination. I needed motion. When I finally pulled into my garage, the lasagna had gone cold. I left it in the car and walked upstairs with empty hands. I didn't turn on the lights. I stood by the window and watched the streetlights smear across the park. Something cracked open inside me. Not anger, not yet. A tired kind of clarity. I had given them $40,000 the year I graduated and ate ramen for months after. I gave Greg $20,000 when his business fell apart. I paid for their anniversary dinner when they said money was tight. I never asked for a penny. Back because I thought that's what daughters do, what good sisters do, what family does. But now I finally understood. They didn't see generosity. They saw compliance. By the time I went to bed, a plan had formed. Small, sharp, quiet. In the morning, I didn't make coffee. I made moves. I sat at my desk and opened everything with my name on it. Checking, savings, investments, even the old 401k from my first job. I moved every cent to new banks they didn't know. I called customer service and set fraud alerts. I froze any shared access from years ago. I changed every password, turned on two-factor authentication, updated recovery questions. I took back every inch of my life I had left on tables for other people. My phone lit up all day. Mom, Dad, Greg. I didn't answer. I emailed my boss, Susan Richards. Subject line, personal, urgent. Susan is the kind of woman who looks like she walked through fire and came out smoothed by it, sharp, unshaken. She waved me into her office and didn't waste time. I need advice, I said. Not legal, yet, personal. But it might touch work. Go on, she said. I told her everything. The porch, the plan, the years of money I handed over, Greg's fraud, how they were going to use my love like a debit card, my plan to disappear financially. She listened without interrupting, arms crossed, jaw set. When I finished, she leaned forward. First, she said, you're handling this with more clarity than most. Second, get a lawyer. Not because you did anything wrong, but because they may try to twist it. Third, create a record. Every dollar, every ask, document everything. I slid a spreadsheet across her desk. 5 years of transfers, dates, amounts, notes, Greg, emergency, Mom, medical bill. Susan blew out a breath. This is almost $200,000. I couldn't speak. My throat shut. She watched me for a beat. Then her voice softened. One more thing. We have an opening in London. Same title. Better pay. And more important, distance. We'll handle the visa, the move, the logistics. You won't be alone. London. I repeated. You'd have support, she said. I didn't answer then, but something shifted. A door in my mind swung open and stayed that way. That afternoon, Greg got through. I picked up without deciding to. Jesus, Diane, he said. Where have you been? Working, I said. At that job you think prints money. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm busy. What do you want? We need to talk. Family dinner tomorrow. Can't, I said. I have plans. More important than family? Yes, the kind where people don't plan to steal 300 grand. Silence. Then he forced a laugh. Too loud, too fake. You were listening. I was bringing lasagna, I said. Remember? That thing I do because I still believed in us. Diane, it's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You planned it. You told them to cry if they had to. You called me naive. I'm in trouble, he said. You know that. You could keep me out of prison. You should have thought about prison before you broke the law. You're really going to let me go to prison over money you can afford? My eyes closed. I couldn't afford the 40 grand I gave Mom and Dad. I couldn't afford the 20 I gave you. I couldn't afford any of it. I gave it because I thought that's what family did. He didn't have a comeback. I'm begging you, he said. Beg someone else, I said, and hung up. The texts poured in. From Greg, from Mom, from Dad. I didn't read them. On Wednesday, the receptionist buzzed my desk. Diane, someone from legal downstairs, a process server. I exhaled and said, "Send him up." He handed me an envelope and left. Inside was a complaint. My parents were suing me, claiming the money I gave them were loans, that I was now demanding repayment, that I had caused them emotional distress and financial harm by cutting them off. It was absurd. So absurd I laughed at my desk. Not sharp laughter, tired laughter, the kind that slips out when disbelief gives up and leaves the room. They weren't just trying to guilt me, they were trying to punish me. I called the lawyer Susan recommended, Carol Kim. She spoke like she had no time for nonsense. I scanned the papers and sent them. She called back in 10 minutes. "They have no case," she said. "No contracts, no texts or emails calling these loans, no written agreements. Nothing ties you to repayment. This is harassment. Can." "We counter?" I asked. "We can sue for damages, emotional distress, defamation." I pictured their faces. It didn't feel right. "No," I said. "I don't want their money. I want them gone." Carol paused. "Understood." I filed the papers in a drawer and locked it. Then I started to pack. Not just for London, but for a life that wouldn't include people who saw me as a wallet on legs. The movers were set for Tuesday. All weekend I put my life into boxes. Cookbooks with mom's handwriting in the margins. Framed holiday photos where I was behind the camera. I wrapped them gently. I kept some. I left most. Sunday morning, Greg called from a number I didn't know. I picked up before I could stop myself. "You're really going to let me go to prison?" he said. "I'm not letting you do anything," I said. "You're going to prison because you committed crimes." I could lose everything. "I already have," I said. "My family, my trust. The belief that you cared about me as a person, not as an ATM." Silence stretched. "I was scared," he said finally. "I didn't know what else to do." "You planned it," I said. "You laughed. You taught them how to lie to me." "Didn't mean to hurt you." "You didn't think of me at all," I said. "Please stop calling." "Diane, please." "I'm done," I said, and hung up. Then I blocked the number. No more calls came, no more texts. Maybe they finally understood the door was shut. On Monday, I stood in my half-empty apartment and looked around at the life I built. Every inch of it earned. Every dollar fought for. Every piece touched by people who had become strangers. I didn't cry. I zipped my last bag, taped a note to the front door for the movers, and ordered a car. London, 2 bedrooms. Facing the river. At the airport, boarding pass in hand, I opened a cabinet in my mind and found something I'd forgotten. The lasagna pan. I'd tucked it behind baking sheets I never used. Heavy, clean, waiting. The one I carried that Sunday. Night, warm, hopeful, full of cheese and love I couldn't see, was one-sided. I ran my fingers along the edge. It was only glass and metal. But it held every dinner I'd made, every time I tried, every way they took from me and smiled while I handed it over. I didn't cry. I dropped it into the kitchen trash. It didn't shatter loud. It just ended. At the gate, a text came from an unknown number. I knew who it was. Linda. "I'm sorry. Not for needing help, but for how we planned to get it. You deserved better. I hope someday you can forgive us." I stared at the words, then typed, "I hope someday you can deserve forgiveness." I turned off my phone and walked toward the plane. 6 months later, my lawyer called. Greg got 18 months in federal prison, tax evasion, wire fraud, attempted concealment of assets. My parents sold their house to pay his legal bills and lost most of it anyway. They moved in with my aunt in Florida. I didn't feel satisfaction, not guilt, not anger. They were names now, people I used to know. In London, the sky kept changing, gray, then silver, then nearly warm. My corner apartment had brick walls and a good view of the river. I made real friends, people who saw me, not my bank account. On some quiet Sundays, I still made lasagna, just for me. Not because I missed them, but because I remembered the girl who thought bringing food was the same, as bringing love. The girl who carried her heart in a casserole dish and set it down at their door again and again, hoping they'd hand it back whole. She's gone. In her place is someone who knows love without respect is just a debt with interest. Someone who understands walking away isn't quitting. It's remembering who you are. Sometimes the only person who truly shows up for you is you. I used to think showing up was enough. That if I kept saying yes, kept giving, kept making casseroles, kept covering bills, eventually they'd see me and not just what I could offer. But some people only love you while you're useful. The moment you stop giving, you disappear. I didn't leave to punish them. I left to protect what was left of me. If you've ever stood outside a door with something warm in your hands and hope in your chest only to hear a truth that breaks you, I see you. You don't have to explain why you stopped calling, why you skipped the holidays, why you walked away. You don't owe anyone an apology for saving yourself. If you've ever been the quiet giver, leave one word you wish they had said to you.